Yo, what is up guys? It's Pedro here, and in today's video I will be talking about the news that the Washington Commanders have requested permission to interview Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy, and they're going to push strongly for him. So we're going to talk about the possibility of him being the OC in this video. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content on the road to 11,000. Also hit that like button and that notification bell, and check out Manscaped. Use code PEDR20 for 20% off your first purchase and free shipping. So this was first reported about like 7 to 10 days ago by Ben Albright, and a lot of people are doubting it, and then the last few days more and more kind of people have stepped up and confirmed it. JP Finley a couple days ago on his podcast talked about how he's checked in with a couple people on the Eric Bieniemy thing, and he said it's real. And then today Ian Rappaport comes out with it, and then after that, of course, many people confirm it. So I'll read it here from Ian Rappaport. He says the Commanders have yet to hire an OC, and one reason why: they requested permission to interview Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy, and he's emerged as a potential key candidate, sources say. He also was requested by the Jets, Titans, and Ravens for offensive coordinator jobs. So very interesting right there. And then basically in this tweet, John Keim is confirming it. He says Eric Bieniemy is indeed in play for the Commanders, and he says same with the 49ers, Anthony Lynn, waiting until they can interview them. If their teams win, Washington will be patient / wait. So if the 49ers and Chiefs win this week, which I'm rooting for the 49ers and honestly kind of rooting for the Chiefs as well, we're not going to officially hear about them until, or the who our offensive coordinator is, probably until later on. So that is just something to keep in mind for sure. So let's talk about Eric Bieniemy, and I made a video about this a week ago, and people were like, there's no way he would come here, and here's the reason why he potentially could. Obviously, he's in a good spot in Kansas City. He's working under Andy Reid, one of the best head coaches of all time, one of the best offensive minds of all time. He also has the best quarterback in the NFL, one of the most talented quarterbacks of all time. He has a top 3 tight end of all time, and he's got a great offensive line. But he's not calling plays. And I know last time I made the video, a lot of people were commenting that he does indeed call the plays. Well, Ian Rappaport came out and said he didn't, and I kind of did some extra research, and he doesn't really call the plays. He might have influence on some of them, but at the end of the day, Andy Reid is the one who calls the plays, and you can't blame him because he is that guy. So that would be a little bit intriguing for him, for Eric Bieniemy, to move on, because he's already learned pretty much all he's going to learn from Andy Reid. He's been there for a long time. Now he can move on, and let's say with any of these teams, the Commanders, Jets, Titans, and Ravens, he's going to be the offensive coordinator or the play caller. But I believe didn't the Jets hire someone? I'm not completely sure, but I believe they might have. But still, he's going to be the offensive play caller in all those teams. But with the Commanders, he could be in position to become the head coach after year one. Let's say, Ron Rivera does okay, but Eric Bieniemy, man, he really impressed. The offense goes to top 10. The new owner will evaluate after the year, and he could potentially fire Ron Rivera and promote Eric Bieniemy. He would be in a good spot to not only, he would be in a good spot if he does a good job to be possibly promoted by the Commanders, or just be another team hire him. And if that happened, I believe the Commanders would get 2 third-round picks. So it would be a win-win either way if he does a good job here and gets promoted as OC, or if he does a good job here, maybe still Rivera is doing a good job and he decides to go somewhere else. That's definitely a possibility, but I think there is a very strong chance that, Eric Bieniemy, there's definitely a chance that Eric Bieniemy accepts this request and considers the Commanders as an option for him to be the OC. I think the Commanders' job is more appealing and intriguing than the Jets and Titans' job, because the Titans, the quarterback situation, I would say, is as bad as Washington's. I mean, Malik Willis did not showed nothing really. Did not show anything good this year. He did bad, in my opinion. Got Ryan Tannehill, but he's on a crazy contract, and he's kind of declining a little bit. You got Derrick Henry's good, but your receivers aren't great. Offensive line isn't amazing. The Jets, quarterback position's a mess. They've got some good receivers. O-line is okay, but they had some injuries this year. Running backs are good. The Jets have some weapons as well. So I think the Commanders might have a little bit better weapons, but you could argue either way for the Jets and Commanders. And the Ravens, it really just depends on Lamar and how Eric Bieniemy views him, and how the Ravens view Lamar, and if he ends up staying. Because if he doesn't, that's why would Eric Bieniemy want to go there? I mean, Lamar is really the only, besides him and Mark Andrews, they're really the only intriguing weapons on the Ravens. I mean, you could say J.K. Dobbins as well, but that's it. Besides that, they really have no one. No receivers. I mean, Bateman, he's entering his third year. He's shown some flashes, but nothing to say, oh, he's clearly a number one receiver. So I think the Commanders would potentially be one of the top options out of these four, and you have the chance to be promoted as head coach the next year because of a new regime. I'm sure his agents are telling him that right now. And another thing is he is done. He's not under contract after this season ends, so it would make sense for him to pursue another option. And that's why, yes, people are going to be like, why is he going a lateral move, going to same position but a worse team? Well, because he would get play calling abilities, and he hasn't gotten a head coaching job, and for years people are like, man, people need, he needs to be hired, he's one of the top candidates. Well, he wasn't getting hired, and part of that probably is because he's not calling the plays. So if he does go to another team and calls plays and does a good job, that opens up an avenue for him to be a head coach. And that's probably what he wants to be. He's probably frustrated that although he's doing a good job with the Chiefs and he likes it there as an OC and they're winning, he wants to see what he can do as a head coach. And nothing's changed over the last 3 or 4 years. He's done a good job there and they keep winning, and he keeps not getting a head coaching job. So if he wants to be a head coach, I think he's got to do something else. And that doesn't just necessarily mean joining the Commanders as an OC, but I think it means joining someone as an OC and doing a good job there calling the plays, and then moving on to be a head coach the next year or the year after that. I think that is kind of my take there. And then, of course, Kyle here also mentions Anthony Lynn. I much rather have Eric Bieniemy than Anthony Lynn. And Eric Bieniemy, if he actually becomes a serious candidate, he's my number one option by far. By far. Over Thomas Brown, over anyone. He's number one, and then probably Thomas Brown is number two, but there's a big gap. So this would be an absolutely huge hire and a huge upgrade over Scott Turner, and I'm very excited to see how this plays out. So I don't know, even though I was kind of rooting for the Chiefs, even though I don't care. I mean, Bengals or Chiefs, whoever wins, I'll be happy. But now might root for the Chiefs or for the Bengals so that we can kind of get the Eric Bieniemy news a little bit quicker, because waiting another 2 weeks after today would be a little bit rough. But if it means we get Eric Bieniemy, I'm all for that 100%. So that is it for today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy. Hope you guys enjoy the 2 great games that hopefully will be great today. We got the Eagles and 49ers, and then the Chiefs and the Bengals. Also, make sure you guys check out the stream I did yesterday and the stream I did on Thursday with Ed Oliver. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoy your day. Peace.